One of those faces and voices you're going to hear from right now. Kay Brown is the organizing director of Advanced Carolina. Under Kay's leadership, Advanced North Carolina had one of the largest field programs in our history. As a matter of fact, it was so large, we were in the top 20 organizations across the country leading up to early voting for direct voter contact, and one of the top six in the state of North Carolina for direct voter contact. That doesn't happen because of a board leadership. It doesn't happen because of Marcus. It happens because of the work that the previous staff have done to raise the level of the organization to make it palatable for leaders like Kay and others to step in and do the work that they do. So at this time, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Kay Brown.
Hello. Look, it's hard. It's hard to follow like all of this legacy. like y'all so it looking at Ashley and Jasmine and Aaron and folks like on the call as a Black woman that came up in movement, though similar in age a few years after, it has meant so much to be here at Advanced Carolina and to get the opportunity to really like dig in and grow the program. So I will say when I started here, we were knocking what about 35,000 doors across the state of North Carolina. And I said, oh, that's good. But let's see what else we can do. So in 2024, we ended up growing our capacity from about 35,000 doors to over 381,000 doors.
Wow.
And that does not include our sister organization. We were able to like make a lot of calls. We were able to host and have a lot of events. We were able to sponsor a lot of events, and really do the cultural work in a way that only Advanced Carolina can do. I've been blessed to work in a lot of different spaces and places, but this has been the place and the space that has allowed me as an organizer to flourish and has allowed a team of organizers and people across the state of North Carolina to flourish. We trained, in addition to that, we also launched the largest election protection program that we have done here at Advance, and we trained over 167 poll monitors to do election protection. So at a time where we knew democracy was going to be on the lines and we were not sure what people were going to be doing at the polls, we made sure that we had folks out on the ground where they needed to be. We faced so many challenges around combating misinformation. The laws were the laws were changing and interpretations were changing. There was the assassination, well, like with an S on it. We had active shooters, like you name it. And even coming out of that, we were so resilient. And I will also say, because of Advanced alumni, as an organizing director, we had the support that we need to navigate all of those hard challenges. And I would say one of the biggest takeaways that the team and I had in reflection was that organizing will always be the answer. A ground game will always be the answer. Being out in community with our people and not just in the grass tops are always going to be the answer as to how we turn out, engage, and support our community to get the wins that we need moving forward. In 2026, we plan on going even bigger. Marcus turned his camera off, so I don't know if he's sweating or not, but in 2026, we plan on going even bigger. And we're looking to basically, we have a little hashtag, advancing big wins. We have the U.S. Senate race that's coming up. We have some House seats that we're going to be making some challenges on. And also, we have our state Senate and our state House seats. But in addition to that, oftentimes as the organizing director, people will ask me just about state level what we're doing. But really, we have a really deep grassroots approach as to how we feed bottom up and top down and how we strategically are running our organizing program. So I will say that we will be working on races around DAs, sheriffs, you name it, we are doing it. And I will even mention that we are doing it right now. So well, not now exactly, because now it's 7 o'clock and everybody has already come in. But we are currently even running a canvassing program across the state of North Carolina. We have a lot that is on the ballot for these municipal races, and we've done town halls, we canvassing, we are phone banking, And really, this year, we've been able to expand in a totally different way. And we'll have somebody speak a little bit on that, and challenging our young adults that are on these college campuses to see themselves as not only leaders of their campuses, but leaders in communities, period. And by doing that, we've been able to reach a broader demographic and age range of folks that typically have not been engaged, and having them engage with their peers. Um, I will also say that we are so excited. And I know she's here, and I want to say it out loud, and I hope nobody's blushing or anything, but to be in spaces as an organizer, and watch all that Judge Anita Earls has done, to protect free speech and democracy, to protect my rights as a Black woman. I had to save the best for last, because it is, when I tell you, an honor and a privilege to be a Black woman organizing in this space, and have one of the biggest fights that we're going to throw down on is making sure that we protect a Black woman as she holds her seat and as she continues to fight for our rights. She has really put herself out there, and we want to make sure that we doing our part in picking it up. But with that being said, we know that real power starts close to home. And even though some of the municipals may not always make the headlines, it's how we learn, it's how we practice. Um, and also, it's the municipals have so many things, that tie into our everyday lives. And so this year, we decided that we're going to throw down as heavy as we possibly can around the municipal elections. Because we know that typically, if somebody is willing to vote or be engaged around the municipals, that they're also going to turn up in 2026. And when people say, well, we haven't seen you out in communities, we have an answer for that, because we've been out there 365. So we're going to take a quick trip, um, quick trip across the state, and hear from some of our regionals about what's going on. We have Miss Betty, we have Gabrielle Martin, we have Jasmine Wright, we have Lamar Bryant, and I am going to put y'all on the spot a little bit, and have y'all in about, we're organizers, so I have to give a little bit of a time limit. So if you could take about a minute to introduce yourself, and your region, and talk about what community you serve and what makes it unique. And Lamar, I'm going to pick on you first.
Well, I knew it was coming. Hey, everybody. Before we get started, I'd like to say that it's what a coincidence it is that this angel number for 10 signifies spiritual growth and divine alignment. And I would like to say that being a part of this organization is truly that. As we saw at the beginning of this call, we really talked about the spiritual growth and just growth overall. But I think that at this point in our in this 10-year anniversary, we're really looking at growth, and we're looking at divine alignment that will carry us through to not only this year, but 10 more years, 100 more years. But my name is Lamar Brown. I am the Triangle Regional Coordinator. I like to call my team the Triangle Tribe. And if you have been anywhere with the Triangle Tribe, you know we like to turn up. And so I know Marcus was talking about how formal we are, but I'm gonna get a little. I'm gonna turn up a little bit when I talk about the Triangle Tribe, because that's what we do. I'd say that my region, I am over Durham County, Wake County, and Johnston County, and I would like to say that my region in particular is so unique because we blend so many aspects of organizing, whether it is through our diverse HBCUs. Shout out to the HBCUs of North Carolina, particularly those that are in the RDU area. It blends progressive urban centers where we talk heavily about just so many different things that pertain to our Black diaspora, not only just about those Black entrepreneurs, but about the Black art. And I would love to talk about the Hayti Heritage Center as we get to the questions. But not only that, we're talking about JoCo, and Johnston County was we were walking on eggshells in Johnston County at one point when we originally started. However, we have built so much character in Johnston County with all of the things that we have done, from advancing education, advancing economy work, and just being on the front lines in Johnston County as being an organization and a team who talks heavily about advocacy and holding our people, not only the elected officials, holding their feet to the fire, but ensuring that our communities and our residents are at the front of the decision making. That's not only in our city council meetings, but all across the community. And so I'm grateful to lead and super excited about the celebration of our 10th. And I'll pass it to Jasmine.
Please, Advanced Carolina, North Carolina Black Alliance. I love being in the space. My name is Jasmine Wright, and I'm the Southwest Region Coordinator for Advanced Carolina, covering Cabarrus, Cleveland, Gaston, Mecklenburg, and Rowan. One of the things that make my region unique is the fact that I physically have someone on the ground in all of my counties. We might not be as lit as the Triangle Tribe, but the Southwest soldiers do have something to say. Some of the issues that are motivating my folks right now, particularly in Mecklenburg, is having leaders who say they are for us, but they've clearly been aligning against their own people's interests for the sake of their own, aligning their own pockets. A political opportunity to truly bring awareness into how our elected officials have been moving and how we as people can demand more and move those who don't represent us. One of our representatives in my rural counties, aka Cabarrus, when he didn't show up to his in-district town hall, those communities joined our statewide lobby days. They even organized their own caravans to Raleigh. So throughout my experience in this role, I have seen people go from truly not knowing what it means to being on the ground and to even attending county commissioner meetings on a regular basis, to seeing Black folks encouraged to even run for local offices in their own towns. So I'm happy for the 10 years.
All right, and Gabrielle, I'll toss to you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gabrielle Martin. I serve as the Youth Voter Engagement Program Associate with Advanced Carolina, which is just a fancy way of saying that I'm the young adult facing staff member who coordinates our partisan work with our students across North Carolina. I'm the rare regional coordinator because my work spans across North Carolina. I target all of our HBCUs specifically while working in conjunction with neighboring colleges and universities that are near our HBCU campuses. Our program officially launched last year during our presidential election cycle, so we are very new to this space of Advanced Carolina, but we have been growing rapidly over the past year, and we are excited to see where we're going to be headed. We are expanding our reach to not only target our college students, but target just young people in general within the ages of 18 to 35. What makes our community within our colleges unique is that we are a 365 organization when it comes to the work that we do on the campuses. We are the organization who listens to our students and work with our students throughout each election cycle, not just our big election cycles. We make sure that we're listening to our students, making sure that all of their concerns are heard, and we're guiding them and training them up in the way that would help them moving forward in their collegiate career.
All right, and last but not least, Miss Betty.
Hello, everybody. I'm Betty Selby. I cover regional coordinator for the Northeast. I cover Bertie, Hertford, Pasquotank, and Edgecombe counties. What we have done, and I have been here quite a long time, and what I want to talk about is what I've seen grow. And in the Northeast, we have grown in particularly in education by having county meetings and doing one-on-ones and partner with different organizations. I will say that the footprint that Advance have shown in the Northeast by having Kay, Marcus, and Javita come out and we're having legislative talks every second Saturday of the month. That have grown where people are feeling more confident. They trust in the Black political process, something that I consider hard to do in the Northeast, but we're building on that. I think the Northeast, the county that I am serving, they're more alert. They're using the resource provided by Advanced Carolina, which I have seen grown and has contributed to the education of the Black political process, and also building Black power with confidence and with trust. That's my report.
Thank you so much. And if we still have a little bit of time, where if I can ask the team a few questions, all right. So Lamar, I'm gonna pick on you again a little bit. Can you give an example of how organizing in your region has made a difference? And can you tell us maybe about a moment when you saw people come together and build power in your community?
Yeah, sure. I mentioned the Hayti Heritage Center earlier in the conversation, and I would like to highlight them. For those who don't know, the Hayti Heritage Center is one of the few surviving structures from the Hayti neighborhood, better known as Black Wall Street. And I bring that up because it is significant to Durham County because there were so many, I think, believe over 200 businesses on Black Wall Street that highlighted Black entrepreneurship, highlighted those Black folks who were doing great work, from your doctors, your Black attorneys, your hospitals, and so many different opportunities for Black people to see leadership, to see what they wanted to be when they were growing up. And so I say that because most recently there was a developer who wanted to build, rezone around the Hayti Heritage Center. And if you know anything about rezoning, we know that with rezoning comes gentrification, and oftentimes we know that when you want to rezone, you got to push some folks out. You got to displace some folks. And so we know that a lot of those elders that were long-standing residents in the Durham area who were around the Hayti Heritage Center would have been displaced. A lot of those folks did not have anywhere else to go. But more importantly, we knew that had this developer tried to rezone Hayti Heritage Center, we would no longer have that historic structure. We would no longer have the opportunity to use the Hayti Heritage Center as a means to tell our story. On this call, I'm saying that a lot of us have a lot of stories we can tell, but storytelling is a part of activism, and we know that because that's what Hayti Heritage Center was doing, and they do it to this day. And so with that said, we were calling folks, letting them know to show up to city council meetings, calling them and letting them know to tell our Durham City Council and our mayor, you can't allow this developer to come and rezone the Hayti Heritage Center, because we know that it is our right to have and stay in a place that's not so expensive that we cannot afford it. With the rezone, property taxes would have went up. Folks' rent would have went up. Transportation would have been an issue for some of those areas. And so I would like to say, with our organizing, not only just with us, but with our other partners and our organizing with phone banking and canvassing, passing out flyers, Advanced Carolina is good for passing out a palm card and a flyer now. So we were doing all of those things while also using our storytelling and activism. And so most recently, the developer decided to withdraw the rezoning proposal, which is amazing because we can continue telling our stories and advocating for our people through the Hayti Heritage Center.
Thank you so much. And that is so impactful and so amazing. And it's been beautiful to watch you all work. And y'all owe me a t-shirt. Triangle Tribe has their own special t-shirts. All right. Now, my next question is going to be for you, Jasmine. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. So, what does it look like to connect local organizing in your region to the bigger statewide fight? And what issues are most motivating folks in your community right now?
I would say it definitely varies across my counties. When we think about Charlotte and the larger impacts, I would definitely say that we are seeing, I mentioned earlier, our leaders who look like us, who aren't representing us. With that said, I'm thinking in Cabarrus in particular, we had a leader who actually advocated for a DEI bill. And we literally were watching, thanks to our statewide partners, our NC Black and Brown Policy Network. We were watching, as we we're watching this play out, our local folks got to be a part of that fight in terms of being in a space to have conversations with our elected officials, like our lobby days. And then once we had those lobby days and we're doing follow up, our folks couldn't get any more of a response. So seeing our folks actually organize and say, all right, if we're not getting any answers from him in our space, let's go to Raleigh. So being able to be a part of that larger statewide efforts definitely was something that connected our local piece, our statewide. And I also add, especially in regards to our advancing education and economics, I think when we are in my region, Mecklenburg is always the bigger, the go-to where we see a lot of organizing happening. But I would like to add that I think because of Mecklenburg being that fierce go-to county that folks want to see, I think we kind of miss out on our other rural counties like Gaston and Rowan and even Cleveland County. And one of the things that I saw there and seen there, the again thinking about these folks who are in a position and they don't represent us. I've seen and got folks activated in Gaston and Mecklenburg and in Cleveland because they were upset with what they saw happening in Mecklenburg. So overall, I appreciate and love how when we are even looking at our larger municipality, we see how the impacts of that truly trickle down to some of our rural spaces in terms of how we're connecting our local pieces. And then I'll even add one of the other things that we're starting to see, a lot of our folks that we've canvassed or folks that are coming in through our space, our everyday leaders, they're starting to attend these local city council and county commissioners meetings. We have groups who's organized themselves, going to the county commissioners, going to the city council, and we're connecting the dots. We're connecting this city and county work to our statewide pushes. So I appreciate and love seeing that, and I love the fact that Advance has been, at least in where I am in Advance, I love being the group that's spearheading and leading those efforts for these folks, creating and building these power, the role or the opportunity for power through this type of organizing.
Thank you, Jasmine. And as we've heard from some of the alumni, you in a region that had some big shoes to fill. So appreciate you and all that you're doing with that. All right, Miss Betty, I'm gonna pick on you next. What are the political opportunities in your region that Advance Carolina is helping to realize? And what are we doing in your region that no other organization has the capacity to do?
Okay, read it one more time.
Yeah. So what are the political opportunities in your region that Advance Carolina is helping to make happen or realize for you? And what are we doing in your region that no other organization has had the capacity to do?
In our region, y'all, excuse me, y'all are giving us, like I said, the legislative updates. You come into our county meetings, and our one-on-ones. I call you a lot down there. And that's been very impactful by partnering with the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group. The Civic Group started in a Black group of men got together in the one man's living room and started the Eastern North Carolina Civic Group, basically to be a voice in the political and economics of Black people in the 60s. That organization have grown. It covers 23 counties. Out of the 23 counties, we have actively 15 counties. And by having an update from Dr. Lee, Kay, Marcus to visit our meetings and give us the latest and the greatest on how we can get our communities out to build not just Black power, but build confidence that they are comfortable with talking about legislative issues and getting out to vote. As I said, every second Saturday, they bring us that information and those resources. Thank you, Marcom, for the materials you have supplied to us, getting them to us in a timely fashion. That has made an impact in our region. And I thank Advance for coming out to the East, because a lot of times it's hard to get people out to the East. But thank you, Advance, for coming. As far as political opportunities, unfortunately, we have opportunities, but as I said in my opening, we got to build a little more confidence in our communities. Some communities just don't have that confidence, and that's something that we have, Kay, as I talked with you about, trying to build where people not afraid because of the small community to run for office. And we, of course, have been encouraging them to do so.
Thank you for that. And Miss Betty, what you said is absolutely spot on. And in every region we're in every county we're in, we have specific strategic plans that we use to specifically speak to what is happening in that area. So thank you for uplifting that, Miss Betty. Gabby, I'm gonna pick on you last, Queen. Bringing it back to the triad. So what is the political future that we're trying to create by bringing this younger generation of college students into the work of Advanced Carolina?
All right. So, one thing that really just excites me about Advanced Carolina is the ability to be able to do C4 work on our campuses. It goes beyond that nonpartisan engagement that most students deal with on a election cycle type of environment where they're just being asked to register to vote and being pushed off to the polls. We focus on educating them. We focus on making sure that they understand their power, how the elected officials are making decisions, and how that policy impacts their daily lives. We're focusing on how their voices can hold leaders accountable. We work on teaching our Black and brown voters that if they come together and they work together, they can impact the decision makers. And they're not just the participants of our democracy, but they are our future. We bring our generation into our work by ensuring that all the things that they value within not only just their personal lives and what they are setting in their careers moving forward, we're trying to shape them moving past just college. We want them to be able to sustain the knowledge that we're giving them now so that whether they stay in North Carolina or they move to Texas, they can apply the information that we're teaching them through Advanced Carolina to any future endeavors or any future pathways that they go down. Right now, our students are aware of the things that are happening. They're aware of our tuition costs rising. They're aware of the housing insecurities, the threat to DEI that is targeting all of our campuses right now. They're aware of all of these situations and issues, and it's weighing on them very heavily. And one thing that encourages me about Advanced Carolina is that we help them and we support them anytime students reach out to us, anytime administrators reach out to us and they say, hey, we want a program. We're right there. We're programming, we're putting together tours, we're putting together events where we're trying to make sure that the administrators don't feel like they're alone, make sure students don't feel like they're alone, and that we're giving them the resources and the space to unpack these challenges and things that are impacting them directly. One thing that I'm very happy about is within our organization, I see the future that we sit down at the table with on a weekly basis, build every week. In the next 10 years, I can only imagine where our programming area with youth voter engagement is going to be. Our young leaders show up on election day and some don't think about it again until the next election day, but the ones that are within our network, we're teaching them that this is a decision and this is a thought process that they should carry on a day-to-day basis, and it's not just a once a year, once every 4 year type situation, but this is a day-to-day situation and opportunity for them to gain some information and learn things to carry them.
All right.
it.
You have heard from our amazing organizing team that spans not just from the mountains to the coast, but also every single young voter of color across the state we engage with, and particularly on our HBCU campuses when they're in this moment of unsafe conditions. When we think about the threats that are facing our individuals that are on campus, even in public spaces, there's no better time to build Black political power than right now.